The end of World War II was bittersweet. While the world issued a collective cheer as the Allies soundly defeated the Axis powers and the hostilities ceased, it didn't take long for the tremendous ontological shock of the sheer scope of the casualties to sink in. Overall, more than 50 million people died as a result of the 6-year conflict between more than 30 countries. When Hollywood began to ramp up movie making after the war, it was the French critics who first noticed something was up. The cheerful tone of the 1930s movies had disappeared. In its place was something more serious, psychological, and dark, a type of filmmaking that they dubbed film noir, or dark film. Welcome to COM 325, Lesson 9, Film Noir and Hollywood in the 1950s and 60s. Let's get started. The seeds for the U.S. film noir movement were sown during World War II. During the war, President Roosevelt established the Bureau of Motion Picture Affairs in 1942 to oversee propaganda filmmaking on behalf of the United States. The Bureau was placed under the jurisdiction of the newly created Office of War Information, which was headed by famous CBS News anchor Elmer Davis, who was particularly interested in the use of filmed entertainment to, quote, inject a propaganda idea into most people's minds when they don't realize they are being propagandized, end of quote. According to Cook, the main function of the Bureau was to produce documentaries and entertainment that could be shown in theaters in support of the U.S. war effort. The Bureau was disbanded at the end of the war in 1945. Perhaps the most famous documentary series produced by the War Office was Frank Capra's Why We Fight series, produced between 1942 and 1944, which included 7 documentaries on various dimensions of the war. Recall that we watched a clip of the episode entitled The Nazi Strike in Lesson 5. Another important documentary was John Ford's Battle of Midway in 1942, which earned an Academy Award for Best Documentary. While filming the Japanese attack on the island, Ford was injured and received a Purple Heart.